Good afternoon, everybody. Today I'm reporting one new case of COVID-19, which brings the total number of confirmed cases in Nova Scotia to 1,053, and that this new case, previously many of our cases, is associated with the ongoing Northwood outbreak. That is a resident at Northwood. And so with this addition at Northwood, we have 12 residents and 4 staff with active cases of COVID-19 in this facility. This is the one long-term care home that still has active cases of COVID-19. I just want to take a moment to again thank all the staff at Northwood and people from across the health system who have come to work in Northwood to continue to provide care and support as they work to keep residents safe and ongoing work to control the spread of this virus. Yesterday, the QE2 labs processed 533 tests, and we currently have 7 individuals in hospital, 3 of those in the ICU. 975 people now have recovered from COVID-19. And once again, I know that people watch the numbers very closely. As I've said before, we continue to update our case information to make sure it's accurate. And as part of this ongoing process, the number of recovered cases has been reduced by 1 from 976 to 975, just if people have questions about that. We have now 39,441 people who have been tested for COVID-19 in Nova Scotia and have received negative results. I want to thank Nova Scotians for following the public health rules and the advice which has helped us to get through wave 1, minimizing the impact and be in a place now where we have a very flat curve. All Nova Scotians have risen to this unprecedented challenge, and it's because of everybody's effort that we're able to be here today. Allowing businesses to reopen with modifications is an important way to help create our new normal as we continue to fight the virus that causes COVID-19. As the Premier said, businesses that have been required to close under the public health order can start opening as of June the 5th. They must all follow plans that ensure public health protocols are being met. We're working with those businesses to make details of their protocols available for the public to see. Key protocols are keeping the distance rule of 2 meters or 6 feet wherever possible, and staying within the numbers of limits for the number of people that can gather. These rules, important rules about numbers and distancing, are critical to controlling COVID-19 and are here to stay for a significant lengths of time. Businesses, workplaces, and other organizations need to find a way to respect the physical distance rule. If a business is too small to ensure the 2 meters distance between customers or clients, then the gathering limit which is now 5, applies. All businesses, workplaces, and other organizations also need to increase cleaning, especially high-touch surfaces and washrooms, support increased hand washing, encourage mask use when appropriate, and reminding and supporting people to stay home if they're unwell. Every business is different, and there are many ways to meet these protocols. The sectors that I have met with have all had lots of really good questions and their own observations, and we've had very productive discussions about how they can develop and implement reopening plans that make sense for their business or their service they provide or the presence they have in the community. I've been impressed with the comprehensive plans that I've received so far and the thinking that's gone into those plans. What that shows me that these sectors are taking the health of both their staff and the health of Nova Scotians very seriously. And it gives me confidence that we can reopen while mitigating the risks of COVID-19. We now have approved plans for several sectors. For example, I've approved plans for restaurants and cosmetology, and there are 2 sectors that have a great deal of complexity. And as I said, a lot of thought has gone into how they will operate safely. Many others have submitted plans that are in the process of being reviewed right now, and still others are developing the plans with support from Occupational Health and Safety and Public Health. Businesses that were not required to close under the public health order also need to develop plans to reopen safely and meet public health requirements. This will help them operate safely and help them demonstrate to their employees and customers their commitment to safety. For any business or organization that needs help developing a plan, there is now information on the website that was launched yesterday, novascotia.ca /reopening-nova-scotia. All of the businesses are taking responsibility to ensure the public safety. At the same time, I need to remind that individual Nova Scotians, we also need to do our part. We also need to continue practicing the personal protective measures. We have a role in making sure that we are maintaining social distances outside of our household or our household bubbles, that we are taking the responsibility to wash our hands frequently or use hand sanitizer if there's no soap or water available. Practicing good cough etiquette, coughing or sneezing into the sleeve. And I know yesterday I coughed and I didn't, and that's my apologies. I make mistakes. It's important that people avoid touching their face, limiting non-essential travel. How do we play a role in making sure that the high-touch services, whether it's in our own personal workspace at work or at our homes, making sure we're cleaning those? And we've got recommendations about, we encourage Nova Scotians to consider wearing a mask, a non-medical mask, when they may be in situations in the public when they be around other people and can't maintain the social distance. So all of us, along with businesses, all of us have the responsibility and the opportunity to practice these, and it's continuing this collective effort which will allow us to reopen safely. Our new normal does mean modifications for all of us in how we live, work, and play. This requires everyone's patience and thinking and working with a focus on our collective well-being. Businesses and organizations are modifying the way that they operate, and we ask all Nova Scotians to understand and respect the new normal and also follow public health, or continue to follow public health direction. And as I've said before, as we continue to do throughout this, and we continue into this new normal, I ask everybody to act with care for each other, with a sense of community and our collective well-being, and using common sense of how we interpret and apply all these rules.